My name is Justin Sanford. I'm 24. I was diagnosed when I was 14 in high school. I'm of African American descent. When I was diagnosed, it was actually very different because I didn't have a lot of issues early on with my disease. Of recent, I've been having a lot of issues just with new medicines, some medicines not working, adjusting to my body. But the last, I would say, month or so, I've had a good doctor, and everything's been going a lot better for me health-wise. When I was first diagnosed, my family, it was it was different because they never had anybody with the disease really like this in the family. So nobody really knew what it was about or what it was. My mom did like ton of research. She would come home with like 25 papers of like straight Crohn's disease information and just to figure out what it was all about because nobody ever really heard of it in my family. So the acceptance was there just because since it was something new to all of us, we all jumped on the board and got it together. The only thing that was real difficult for me, I would say, was when I got diagnosed. I was in high school and I was playing football. So it pretty much shut off my whole football anything. And then I had to switch sports to basketball, even though I didn't really play as much. Because any type of hit or anything that early in the disease was very crucial, which was which was a real adjustment. I went from being like a real tough kid who can take all the hits to I really couldn't get elbowed in the stomach or anything of the sort, so I'll be down for about a week or so. But that was really the only real adjustments I had to do. My family was really open to it just because it was something new. Not a lot of people in my family, I'm actually nobody in my family has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, so I was pretty much the first one. So they hopped on board, helped me out every single switch of the way, and I'm so proud for that. A difficult time I would say I had with IBD was probably my first flare. Was probably the most difficult because it was something so brand new, and it was actually my birthday. So I went out to eat with my family, and randomly went to like a little buffet or whatever. And all of a sudden, I'm just regularly eating some rice or so, and it was the early stages of my disease, so I kind of didn't look into the diet. I was naive, hard-headed, so I just was kind of just eating whatever, and my stomach started to feel really shaky. Went to the bathroom, tried to go to the bathroom, and nothing really happened. But then when I went home, my body completely shut down, and I couldn't move or anything of the sort. And everybody was so scared because since it was like the first flare I ever had, nobody ever knew what it was about or what was going on. Everybody was just like, "Oh man, he must, ate something bad or something." And it was a reality check to me because I never had that feeling before of like kind of helplessness because it was just like I couldn't move. My body was like I didn't feel strong enough to even get out of my bed or anything of the sort. So the they call the hospital and the ambulance comes picks me up and they say it was my first flare. So they explained to me in the hospital what that was all about. And now that when I was learning about it, the only thing that got me through it was the support of like my friends and my mom and pretty much just my whole like close family. They supported me so well through it because since it was the first thing that they ever seen, heard of, they all sat with me in the hospital. There were so many people in the hospital with me for the first time that they had to actually kick people out, and they wouldn't let more than I guess like 6 people come into the hospital. I had like at least like probably 15 people in the hospital at one time, and that was probably the best thing ever for me to know that I had so much support, and it was just fresh in our minds that it was just so brand new to everyone that we all wanted to learn and talking to the doctors, my friends that are the same age as me at this time, probably 15, asking the doctor like, hey, what does he have to do? Like, we got to get him on a diet. We got to get him on this. We got to make sure everything's right. And that made me feel so good about myself that I kind of just had the mindset that I would never, ever let any of those things happen. And it made me feel better about myself, and it made my friends feel better knowing that they kind of took a step with me in the way. And that was something amazing for me at an early age, because it was just mind blowing to know that I had so much support, and it was just a great feeling to me personally. I didn't really look for anybody I would say, with Crohn's or anything of the sorts, because I think it was just, I was at a young age. So at that young age of, like 14, I I kind of was just sitting in my own bubble. It was kind of just my own personality. And actually, the same with Joey. I actually, first time I ever met anybody with Crohn's that was like a minority or anything was when I went to Camp Oasis. And it was a big refreshment, actually. It kind of opened myself up, definitely opened up my personality. And then you kind of meet different people, hear different stories about different things and how they went through their journey of having Crohn's or colitis. And it kind of just makes you feel a little bit better about yourself. So at first, I would say I definitely didn't look for it. But as soon as I got it, it was awesome to even talk to people. Anytime when you have an issue, just throw it out to them or anything of the sorts, and they always had the answers, and that was a refreshing feeling. So just the information, I would say, just knowing that somebody else is out there just like you, and that you could talk to, and you guys never would know that you guys would probably come from the same place, the same stories you guys would have, and it's definitely an outlet. And for people who, don't want to reach out, I would say, even for myself, I didn't want to reach out at a young age. I kind of just looked to the side like, oh, I can handle this by myself. But it's at a young age like that, I would say the best thing, even though you're very naive and hard headed, it was probably the best thing ever for me to go to the camp and actually meet people, because as soon as I did, it just boosted my self-esteem. I felt better about myself. I was like, oh, wow, I'm not the only person, with this disease, because around my town, nobody even has heard of IBD or Crohn's or colitis. I was pretty much like the first or like the second person in my school to have it. And it was just a refreshing feeling to know, like, okay, I meet people. I meet probably about 400 people for a week, and it was probably the best week that I ever had, and it was amazing. Even though you might feel alone, there are people out there that have the same story, come from the same background as you, and even if they don't, they it's a bond that I feel like can never be broken. Because I would say the first time I ever met somebody or I talked to somebody with the disease, it was a big relief off of my shoulders to know that, wow, somebody feels this pain that I feel all the time. And it was it was great to hear a lot of stories, to see people for the first time that actually you would never even think would even look the part of having a disease that is very, very how can I say it, having a disease that is very, I wouldn't say life threatening, but like it's long term disease. And you meet people who are just great minds, great stories, great personalities, and it helped me out so much, to the point where I would just talk to them for hours on end. And some of my friends that I live with close to my town would actually get a little jealous that I would talk to somebody from a different state for 5 hours about how I couldn't go to the bathroom. And they would get jealous of the fact, like, how can you talk to this person more than you could talk to me? It's just like there's a bond that is just so strong that, like, it's the best feeling in the world to know that you're not alone. And my words of encouragement would just be a little outgoing. Try to try to go out there and maybe go to Camp Oasis or look at CCFA and see some of those Step One events and get out there and see who you can meet. Because I guarantee you, the first time you do, it will probably be the best time of your life. You'll meet some of the best people, and you'll never regret it.